Whether it's Sam Howell or Jacoby Brissett, whoever starts week one will be the fourth different week one starter under Ron Rivera here in Washington. And that doesn't even tell you half the story. Let's get into it on the Daily Commanders update for today, Thursday, June 22nd, 2023. Let's go. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the Daily Commanders update here on Ref the District. I am the Stoner, and we're going to take a little bit of a dive into the quarterback room for the Commanders in the Ron Rivera era. So let's go all the way back to his first year in 2020. He came in, and his mandate from Dan Snyder was, I just drafted, Dan Snyder saying this, I just drafted this young quarterback in the top 20, 17, I believe. And so if you're going to be my coach, you're going to fix Dwayne Haskins. You're going to get him ready. That was his mandate. So Ron Rivera couldn't draft Tua, couldn't draft Justin Herbert because he had a mandate to fix Dwayne Haskins. So he obviously botched that from the beginning. I know he had a mandate, but maybe he shouldn't have taken the job knowing you had Tua and Justin Herbert out there as franchise changers. But anyway, so he had Dwayne Haskins. If you remember 2020, not a good year in the quarterback position. I think Haskins started the season as the number one, and he won his first game. Very first game was against Philadelphia. They got down early. He led them back to a comeback win. You remember the whole thing that it was his first win as a starter, I believe. Maybe no, he had one the year before. Sorry, but it was kind of a big deal that he led them back. But the big thing that happened in the locker room was that it was kind of, hey, it's all about me. It's not so much about the team win. And it started to fracture the locker room a little bit. And then they lost the next 5 games with him as a starter. And coach says, all right, that's it. We can't do this anymore. And he had to go down. He had to go to a broken down Alex Smith coming off of that horrible leg injury. And nobody ever thought he'd play again. I never thought he'd play again. But he was back out there probably too soon, and he was not good when he got out there. And I remember it was the game against the Rams, and Aaron Donald jumped on his back for one of these sacks. And you just thought, oh, my goodness, this is not good. But he survived it, and he went through, but he wasn't very good. He wasn't very good. And so they ended up bringing in a little bit of Kyle Allen that year as well. Kyle Allen played some games. What happened? He got hurt. Kyle Allen got hurt in the game. So then they had to go back to Haskins. It was crazy the way they went back and forth. And then Kyle Allen started some games, but then he broke his leg as well. And then they had to bring Alex Smith back. And then Alex Smith he's not the same guy. And Haskins was so bad that they didn't even keep him around. They booted him out the door. They said, we're just cutting you. And then, of course, towards the end of the year, they were fighting for that division championship. They did win it at 7-9, got in the playoffs, picked up old Taylor Heineke off his sister's couch, and he had that excellent game against Tampa in the playoffs. They actually lost, and the Heineke Hive was born, and we've had to deal with that ever since. So 2020, his first year, was an absolute disaster. He says, I got to fix this. So Alex Smith is gone. Dwayne Haskins is gone. He does bring Kyle Allen back. He does bring Taylor Heineke back. But then he goes out and he signs Ryan Fitzpatrick. All right, Fitzmagic's going to come in here, and we're all just going to love him. He's just a gunslinger, and he's going to throw the ball all over the place, and it's going to be super exciting. And he didn't look good in training camp, and he didn't look good in the preseason. Then he got out there in the first game, broke his hip in the second quarter of the first game, and he's done. Then you bring in Heineke, of course. God love him. That dude's a gamer. That dude will do anything for you. Players love to play for him or with him, but he just doesn't have the talent. So So he plays a whole bunch of games. And then towards the end of the year, if you remember, he got COVID and they had to bring in Gilbert. What the heck was Gilbert's name? I can't even remember the guy's name. Garrett Gilbert, for crying out loud. They bring him in for a game. He doesn't throw up all over himself, which was fine or whatever. But then it was back to Heineke when he was healthy again. But then it was a 7-10 year, and you botched the quarterback position again. So now you've had 2 straight years where you started at least 3 different quarterbacks. 2020, you started 4 if you count Heineke's playoff. 2021, you started 3 different quarterbacks. And sure, some of them are due to injury, but you just haven't solidified that position yet. So, okay, we got to fix this, right? Year 3. Ron Rivera's always said year 3 is the year that the turnaround is supposed to start paying dividends. All this work that you put in. So he says, all right, we got to go get a quarterback. He brings Taylor back again. And then they bring in Carson Wentz. A lot of people didn't like that. I think of their choice, they tried everybody. He even said they called everybody, including Aaron Rodgers. They even got a little smoke trouble for contacting Andrew Luck, or they contacted the Colts about Andrew Luck. That almost turned into a whole big thing. They called everybody, and they settled on Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz starts the year, first game. He was really good against Jacksonville, threw a bunch of touchdowns. I think he had 4 touchdowns, a couple of picks there in the middle of the game. But he's going along. He's just not very good. But then he gets hurt. And so here comes Heineke to the rescue again. And Heineke's okay. He has some good games. He's just okay. But they're kind of struggling along on offense. And Rivera says, you know what? I'm going to go back to Carson Wentz. He's healthy now. And to tell you a little story, I was actually in Vegas for that game against Cleveland. And I could have gone to the Raiders against the 49ers at Allegiant Stadium. I could have gone to the game, but instead I wanted to watch the Browns and the Commanders in a sports bar on a TV that wasn't even in front of me. I had to sit like this the whole time just to watch it. And I botched that. To my defense, tickets were like $600 each. So I had to pay $1,500 for 2 seats to 2 teams I don't care about. But in hindsight, I probably should have just done it. I probably would have enjoyed it more. I promise you that. So he botched that as well because he brought back Carson Wentz, who was terrible. And it was a do or die game, and he didn't even know it was a do or die game. That's a little bit infuriating when you think about it. So then he has to go back. He's thinking about going back to Heineke, and Heineke talks him out of it and says, you got to start this Howell kid. Give Howell a chance. And Howell plays that last game. And, he's pretty good. But now he goes into this year. Heineke's gone. Wentz is gone. So now they bring Howell's going to be your guy. They bring in Jacoby Brissett. Who knows who's going to be the third guy? Jake from State Farm. A couple of these undrafted guys that they might take. Whatever. 4th year in a row, you're going to have your 4th different week 1 starting quarterback. And you're going to see at least 2 guys. You're going to see Jacoby Brissett, whether it's because of injury or performance. You're going to see him. That's just the way it works around here. And that's the sad part of it all. So I think the biggest mistake in all of this, the biggest mistake that Ron made is that he made himself the final say. I'm the guy in charge of everything. Because if he had separated that and he let somebody else be the general manager, then he can sit back and say, well, as the coach, I haven't been given the tools. I haven't been given the quarterback. But if the quarterback is the problem, which he admitted himself, if the quarterback is the problem, then you're the guy who makes the personnel decisions. So that's on you. You don't have a fall guy. That's where you made your biggest mistake, Ron. You don't have a fall guy. So look, that's 3, 6, 9, 10 quarterbacks if you count Howell this year, 11 if you count Heineke in 2020, 11 different starters at different times during the course of this now coming into his 4th year. That's not a good track record. And all the time he was in Carolina, he had Cam Newton. He had an MVP. He had a guy who at one point had a trajectory towards the Super Bowl. So he got that part right. Kind of fell into that, but still he got that right. But he hasn't gotten it right here. And that is going to be his downfall in the end. So hopefully, I'm not a Sam Howell guy, but hopefully he proves me wrong and we finally find our quarterback and we can move into this new era with a new ownership group and a stadium on the horizon and all of that with a quarterback that we can settle on for the next 7 to 10 years. That would be awesome. So appreciate everybody checking in here again. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button so you know when we're dropping stuff. And we're always live Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So you can check that out. Comments. We love the comments. We respond to all of them, and we appreciate everybody. And that's it for the Daily Commanders update for Thursday, June 22nd, 2023. And until next time, be a fan.